Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to your corner for all things nerdy and pop culture. I'm your host, Corby Raridan, and today we have some dope news lined up for all you guys. In fact, one of the pieces of news has already been talked about on the show, but there's a big update on it now. Let's get right into the news. To pick up from what I mentioned in the opening, the new Demon Slayer movie continues to skyrocket at the box office. The movie has now become the first Japanese film to hit the milestone of $600 million. To put it into perspective, the anime is currently on track to become one of the highest rated films this year, beating out a majority of Hollywood films. Honestly, this is just really cool to know because anime has gone from being just a simple medium to now being a front runner for entertainment in today's world. Here's to hoping it can continue to grow further. Now let's move on from the anime news to more general animation news. The Legend of Korra Complete Collection Steelbook finally returns after being sold out for 4 years straight. Fans are pretty excited that it's back due to the Steelbook having unique artworks that represent each of the seasons. Currently, it's up for pre-order for around $50, but be warned, fans who can't get their hands on it now might have to buy it for double the price or more. So make sure to nab it pretty quickly. And finally, to wrap up our news, we have some groundbreaking information, and it involves a fan favorite donut-eating character. That's right, a new Simpsons movie has been confirmed to release in 2027, with the tagline, "Homer's coming back for seconds." Now this is some epic news. Personally, I'm excited to see how the movie does, because the first one was a great watch. If you're still a fan, then let us know down below if you're excited for it. Alright, news is all done. About time, man. Whew! Let's not waste any more time and hop right into the packs the wonderful crew made. Josh, what do you have for us today on Mole Movies?
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Oswald, and welcome to Mole Movies, where every week I watch a movie that's somewhat underappreciated, underground, or straight up forgotten about, and then I give you my thoughts on them and what I like so much about them. Don't worry, I won't be pulling any 1923 Serbian silent films told from the perspective of a sad shoelace, but we might get there eventually. So with all that out of the way, let's get talking about today's film, Good Time, directed by Josh and Benny Safdie, and released in the US on May 25th, 2017. Set in current-day New York, Nick and Connie Nikas commit a botched robbery that puts the younger brother Nick in prison, which causes Connie to go on a wild, crime-ridden odyssey through the underworld of New York. This film, while also somewhat political in nature, is also just as equally focused on the family dynamic between the brothers, and not just how that dynamic affects them both, but it also demonstrates the role they both play in it. What I mean by that is, for example, the film opens up on a conversation between Nick, who is mentally handicapped, and a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is gently examining Nick, not to diagnose or mislead, but to try and connect to him while also analyzing and seeing how he thinks about things. As we progressively move through the conversation, we learn about Nick as a character and the associations he makes in his head. However, before Nick can truly find a vulnerable moment, Connie walks in. Not only does he immediately interrupt the process, he insults the worker and gets Nick to reject and literally tear up any progress he made. This is a brilliant and quick way to introduce character types and motivations. Nick is in need of serious guidance, and we can see who is unfortunately leading him on this path. Another aspect of the film that is extremely efficient at placing you in the scene and really giving you a glimpse into the chaotic and scatterbrained thoughts of Connie is the presentation of this film. There's sharp neon colors spliced throughout the film, while wailing synths give you a sense of space, but also faint familiarity and a sense of dreamlike nostalgia. However, it is beautifully contrasted by the numerous tight close-up shots, the overlapping dialogue, constant change of plans, and perspective switches that really set you in the anxious atmosphere, and you almost feel like you have to keep looking over your shoulder the whole time you're watching it. To speak a little more on the messaging behind this film, we have to look at how the presentation is purposefully tied into the character that is Connie. From the moment we meet him, we know he's abrasive and disrespectful, and as the film goes on, that feeling doesn't change, it becomes more apparent. The purposeful choice of producing such an anxiety-inducing film style and connecting that to the anxious lifestyle of a brother who is reliant on using people around him for a leg up is amazing. But what do you do when your main step stool is ripped out from under you? Not to objectify Nick, but Connie is very aware of his choices and how he operates. This dive into the psyche of Connie not only gives the viewer a taste of the world they're glad they don't live in, but it also forces some viewers to look at the world around them and confront how they take part in it. However, I'm gonna have to leave it there. This film is crazy and incalculable, so watch this where you can and form your own opinion. I would give Good Time a 10 out of 10, and I highly recommend this to anyone who enjoyed films like Nightcrawler, Uncut Gems, and Under the Silver Lake. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
That was great, Josh. I'll definitely have to check that film out, as it has me pretty interested. Up next for our pack list is Nick with his new installment to his packs. What's the new pack, Nick?
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Content Report, your look at social media content, commercials, and the occasional TV show or movie. I'm Nicholas Givens, and today we are going to be talking about the social media content of one B. Dylan Hollis. If you don't know who he is, Hollis is a TikTok creator known for his attempts to cook vintage recipes with varying results. Since his videos are rather short, I'm actually going to provide two standout examples of some of the recipes he's created, both the good and the downright disgusting. On the good side, he made funeral potatoes using a recipe from 1974. And before we get to the clip of Dylan making this casserole, or hot dish, depending on where you're watching this, the 70s were a different era, not just in terms of media content like I discussed 2 weeks ago, but food as well.
The powders.
There are no powders here.
What powders we talking about? Is this for the funeral or are we causing the funeral?
Before we get to the gross recipe, I would like to say that funeral potatoes are probably the most traditional thing I've come across watching his content. And now for the gross recipe, we're rewinding to 1972 for a recipe for a pickled cheesecake. Dylan's reaction here is, well, let it speak for itself. Trust me, when I say the 1970s were a different era, I mean it. It was a different time. Not just in media, as we've seen with the Willy Wonka clip I showed you 2 weeks ago, but also food. But a lesson can be learned here, and that is not everything that came out during the 1970s was weird. There were at least some things about it that actually are palatable, like the funeral potatoes.
Oh, this is just
On that note, that's where we're going to wrap it up. And when it comes to those recipes that are not so great, it is not his fault. He came up with none of those recipes. The people that contributed to the cookbooks where he got those recipes from, though, yeah, they came up with those. And I'm convinced that those cookbooks were how people got recipe ideas before the advent of the internet. I'm Nicholas Givens, and next week on the Content Report, we'll be talking about the commercial that defined the 1990s, the very first Muzzy commercial. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week on the Content Report. Have a good one, everyone.
Welcome to KZLX-LP Maryville, an independent student-run station on the campus of Northwest Missouri State University. We play non-stop top 40 hits and offer a variety of different specialty shows. So tune in to KZLX 106.7.
Whoa, hey, didn't see you there. So you want to know how we run KNWT? Let me show you.
We strive to improve content week to week.
From weekly entertainment to award-winning documentaries.
We have a little something for everyone.
How do we show this creativity?
Creative Services.
Now then, who's next? Oh, me! Take it away, me! Oh, didn't see you there. Hello, my name's Corby Reardon, and welcome back to Now Screaming. Oh, this? Oh, you know, I'm just trying to kill time while I wait for someone to let me out of here. Yeah, I locked myself in. But anywho, today's movie actually kind of reminds me of my current situation. That's because no matter how long I wait or how long I pound on the door, there really is no exit. Yeah.
No Exit is a 2022 thriller based on a book of the same name, written by Taylor Adams, turned into a screenplay by Andrew Barrer and Gabriel Ferrari, and directed by Damien Power.
If you're a fan of a simple, isolated movie with no supernatural elements, then I got good news for you.
When Darby Thorne, a recovering addict, hears terrible news about her mother being hospitalized, she escapes from rehab to go and visit her. On the way down, she is stopped and notified that she needs to stay off the roads for a while due to a blizzard. This leads her to stay at a local visitor center to kill time with 4 other stranded guests. Pretty soon, Darby discovers a kidnapped girl in a van outside, turning this visit into a disturbing mystery. It's not long before questions are asked and violence begins to ensue.
The weather turns from a slight inconvenience to a literal wall that is trapping everyone in with each other.
This movie is a quick, chilling, and claustrophobic story as we discover the true colors of all the strangers staying at the visitor center.
I find there is a lot to like about this movie. It also offers itself a brisk 95-minute runtime. Who doesn't love a short movie? Now let's get to the PGS scale.
Plot. The characters are well developed and all the actors crushed their performances. Nobody is left out or underutilized. The action is gritty and intense, and the location concept is just perfect for me. A cold winter night trapped with a mysterious kidnapper. I just got chills. 4 out of 5. Gore. This movie is pretty laid back with its gore. It is more present towards the end when things really start to hit the fan. Not to give much away, but once a nail gun comes into play, things get pretty crazy. 3 out of 5. Scares. When it comes to scares, this movie didn't offer any in the traditional horror movie sense. That is mainly due to its genre being a thriller. Not saying a horror movie needs jump scares and shock value, but I wasn't particularly scared with this movie's material. But there are some points in the story that left me a little unnerved, so that's a plus. 2 out of 5. That gives No Exit a PGS rating of 3 out of 5.
Thank you for watching this episode of Now Screaming. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just going to get back to Balatro or something. And that is a wrap on PAX and the show. If you all enjoyed, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss an upload from us. I've been your host, Corby Raridan, and this has been Nerd Central. Stay nerdy!